All right, good morning. This is the video for the warm-up that was offered on January the 22nd, which was the Tuesday. If you were to look at the printout of what things are supposed to look like, it looks like we need at least one column and 4 rows up at the top. So I'm going to choose this row and I'm going to choose Insert. And just to let you know, to repeat the same command, if I hit Control Y, it does the same thing. So I get my 4 columns. If I pick column A and I choose Insert, I just need 1 row. I believe this was to be student 1. And I think these might be out of order. So I'm going to have to type these in the old school way. I'm not too happy about this. I'll have to fix this mistake. Definitely, okay. So from here I should be able to pull this down here. And then I believe this here was subject, values, answers, name, and then this was Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. I'm going to try and drag that over. Got to go to 5-0 because it thinks it's quarterly, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, yeah, because it thinks it's like financial quarters. So I'm going to pick those 5, and then now it's, hey, there's no such thing as Q5, so there we go. All right, so let me, okay, there we go. And then we've got total, math, science, English. Okay, so I think this was supposed to be all in orange. I don't know if I set that or if I set a theme. I don't remember. I think I set a theme. I don't think I set that. I don't think I set that, but whatever. I think that came from the... Okay, and then these here were all values that I had to type in, right? Wow, I can't believe I did that. And these were the values. Yeah, well, I won't do this again. Oh. And then these are my subjects. I'm pausing this video. All right, we're back. So the first thing I'm going to do is conditional formatting. I'll apply it to this cell, and then I will then copy the formatting over here. So with this cell selected, I'm going to go to conditional formatting, highlight. I'm going to deal with equal to. So I want it to be green, and that cell is going to be green when its value is equal to the value sitting in that cell right there, because I need to know that their answer of 1 matches the actual answer of 1. Now, knowing that I have to copy this formula to the right, I need to take off the $ off the B. Otherwise, in other columns, it'll always refer to the value of the cell to what's sitting in B2. Absolutely. Okay? And I want to keep the $ in front of the 2, because when I copy the formula down in a given column or fill down, I don't want the reference to row 2 to change to row 3, row 4, row 5. So that's why the $ stays with the 2, but I drop it for the B. And now I'm going to also do conditional formatting, and this time there is no option here automatically shown for not equal to, so I'm going to choose more rules, and down here it says not equal to, and I want that again to be equal to here, and if I hit F4, I think I can cycle one hitting of F4, changes it to what I want, and I want this to be filled with red. Okay? And now I'm going to fill over. Be careful, it wants to make them all 1. I only want to fill over the formatting. And then when I fill down, again, it wants to copy all of the data also, the values, so make sure you double click on this and choose fill formatting only. And I'm going to pause and take any questions. All right, continuing on, we wanted a row down here that showed us the percentage of questions, the percentage of students that got each question right. So I can just put here percentage correct. I'm not going to worry about the coloring. And what I want to do is I want to check to see how many of these cells here are equal to the answer. So I'm going to do a COUNTIF. And what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to select this range, and I want to see how many of those cells are equal to that value. Now, that'll just give me a raw count of the number of people that got the question right for each question, but I want it as a %, so I need to then divide by the number of students, and that's just a straight count of the number of the number of cells that are not empty, which is BF to B19. No need for a $ because I want the B's to change to a C and a D as I move it over. So I have made a mistake here, apparently. B5 to B19, I want to count. What did I do wrong? That's correct. And then I want to divide it by the number of cells, that are numbers here. And I get 0. That's great. So Shift F3. It's giving me 15, which is what I want. So I'm guessing there is a possibility that I'm just not showing enough decimals. Ah, there we go. And I'm going to paste this over. And then I'm going to open up the cells to show the decimals, and then I'm going to make them display as %. And then I think these, if I remember correctly, these were blue or something. Oh, cool. Did not want to do that. Yeah, unintended. So I wanted these to be %, and then I wanted this to be in blue. Okay, my apologies. I think I had the entire sheet selected when I changed it to % because the sheet was selected to maximize to enlarge the cells. So I'm going to continue on. I believe these cells here were just colored in black, filled in black, and I believe these were also filled in black. Okay, so here I want to figure out how many marks were allocated to the entire test. So I think I can just do a straightforward sum. And just to remind you, I believe you can do an auto sum here. I should be able to do an auto sum here. Equals sum. I'm not sure why that didn't happen. Okay, I'll just do a sum here, and I will drag for that. 81 marks. Now I want to do a sum of just the marks or allocated to math questions. So this is a sum if. And if I forget how this works, I can click on the dialog box. The first thing I need to do is identify the range that I'm going to check to see if there's an M there. And the criteria is a capital letter M, and the sum range will be that range there. Now, knowing that I'm going to copy the formula to the right and change it from M to an S and then an E, I don't want the references to the letters, the columns, to change. So I'm going to be kind of do that ahead of time. And I want that to be the B and the Z to stay the same. I don't have to worry about the 4s and the 3s because I'm copying or I'm filling to the right. So I'm the row doesn't change. Okay. So I'm going to hit OK. And then when I move these over, this is still going to give me an M, but this is kind of not the best. I probably should just take the first letter of whatever's in the descriptor here. So I will admit this is not completely dynamic, but I think that should give us the 29, 30, and 22. So now I got to figure out how many marks did this person get? And this is probably the part that caused people the most. What I need to know is figure out how many marks did student 1 get on this question. And I know that they got it right because this is colored in green, so they should get 5 marks. So down here, it's going to be the beginning of a different chart. I'm going to do an if, and I'm going to check to see if this cell is equal to that cell. And if it is, they're getting that many marks. Otherwise, they're getting 0. Now, knowing that I am going to copy this to the right, and I'm going to copy it down, when I'm referencing row 3, I do not want the B and the 3 to change. And B5 equals to B2. B2 is, I always want to reference row 2. So I need that 2 to stay the same. So that tells me that student 1 got the first question right and got 5 marks. So I have made a mistake here. So let me see what I have done wrong. Oh, I know what I've done wrong. It always wants to give whatever's sitting in B3. That's not the case. For this question, this should refer to C3, which means this formula should not force that B to be permanent, so it's going to allow it to change. Let's try that now. I think, is that correct? I don't remember because I can't see this on my picture, but now I'm going to drag. Those are down. Okay, that's good. And at some point, I'm going to realize that some of these values are, nobody got everything wrong. So I just pulled down too low. So there we go. So how do I get a total mark? Well, their total mark is to basically just go sum up all these scores. And if now, I don't want a mark, I want a percentage, so that's got to be divided by whatever the test was out of, which was 81. And knowing that I'm going to copy that formula down, I want to fix the 3 so it'll always correspond to that row. And because I'm copying in the same column, I don't need the $ in front of the AA column reference. So this gives me 62%. I am going to change that to a percentage, and then when I copy down, it should give me these as a percentage. When I go here, I no longer want to sum up all the marks, but rather all the marks that I got on a math test. So I got to do a sum if. And if I forget how this works, my criteria range is here. I'm looking for an M, I always want a reference to from column B to column Z, so I'm going to put the $ in front of the B and the Z, and my sum range will be here. Again, I need the B and the Z to be permanent or stuck, and then as I copy down, the 23 will change to 24 and so on. I better be careful. I think I also need the 4 to be stuck, otherwise it'll change the criteria row from row 4 to row 5. Okay. I have to divide that because I want a percent. I got to divide that by what the test was out of, which is this cell. And I always want it to be the cell A, or come from row 3, because I'm copying down. I don't have to worry about the $ in the front of AB, and also because I'm going to fill to the right, I want AB to change to AC and AD accordingly. So I'm going to make that a percent, and I'm going to fill down. And now I think with any luck, I should be able to fill that over. And that's now going to have to be an S. And that's going to have to be an E. And if I take these two, I should be able to fill down and so on. And I think these were supposed to be colored in the same blue as over here, although it looks a little bit darker, whatever. Okay, so I'm going to stop. Actually, I'm going to enter in a couple rows here. So Control Y redoes the last operation, so I'm hitting Control Y a whole bunch of times. So I get a whole bunch of rows at the top. I'm going to stop before we make the graphs. So the question was, how do I unhide? Because I think you probably want to hide these rows. So right-click and choose Hide. And now see how there's a jump between 45 and 51, or 41 and 57. You know that there is, so if you click those two and then choose Unhide. Yeah, I think above and below. But you'll see the jump between 41 and 57. Now, I don't know. You might be able to do, yeah, I don't think you can do, yeah, I don't think you can do that. Okay? All right. So now going forward, I don't necessarily want those hidden. So I'm going to bring those back on. And apparently I made this, oh, maybe I made a mistake here. Boom, unhide. Uh-oh, what did I do here? Let's go back. Oh, redo. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go make, I think I suggested that graphing the percentage correct versus the question. So I'm going to pick percentage correct, and I'm going to choose, actually I can go down here, just a reminder, and choose chart. I want a cluster. Now, I wonder if I pick that, this is just me thinking out of the box, and then I went and picked, if I pick this, hold down Control, and then attempt to pick, it's not going to allow me to do that. Should I not be able to also pick that? Do I have two things picked now? I think I do. Trying to see, maybe show us the shortcut. Ah, beautiful. So the first thing I picked was the data series, and then the next thing I chose was the horizontal labels, and it actually made a chart for me based on this. I think what most of you probably did was you picked the data series, and then you went back and changed the horizontal. So just something to think about. I mean, I'm going to go back and do it probably the way you're going to remember to do it in a test situation. You're going to pick this. You can use the quick analysis here and go to charts if you want. I'm just going to pick the first one. I'm going to pick the first one. Where did it go? Oh, there it goes. Okay, so I'm going to move this up. I'm going to change the colors here. I think that was it. I think in here I put something that, percentage of students who answered each question correctly. And then because these horizontal labels are 1 through 25, because it didn't have anything else to go by, if I pick that chart and I go to design, select data, it's this horizontal axis label that I have to specify what I want to use as the axis labels, which are these right here. Now, I don't think that I've chosen enough. So there we go. So do I have the chart the way it should be showing? No, I also want the data labels, data labels, and I think I just had you show them on the top. I think that was everything for that chart. Okay, so I'll pause the video and take any questions. All right, so the second chart, I want to graph 3 data series. So I actually want to graph that. If I go to insert chart, I'm almost there. But then if I go to select data, my series 1 label is going to come from here. And my series 2 label, its name is coming from here. And series 3 label is coming from here. So that gets my math, science, English. It looks like the legend was not on the bottom, but over to the right. And then we wanted the data table on the bottom. And I don't think I wanted the chart title. And I think that, and the last thing I want to do is in my data, my horizontal labels, I want to be the student names. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to grab the student names as my data labels. And then I'm just going to have to move this. And then we can make it just a little bit bigger so we can see what we wanted. Let's see what happens here. Roughly that. Now, if we were talking about this yesterday, if the font's too big for that chart, just go under Home and choose a smaller font if you want. For that one, just so you get the student number coming underneath the word student. I think that's what I did when I set this up. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and take any questions.